Hello, Anne.
Oh, hi, Dennis. Good to
Hi,
see you.
Dennis.
Hi, Nita.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Dan.
We're looking at the slideshow that Pastor Aaron created
Wow.
for these two featured poets. It's so great.
It is.
I just love that. That owl.
That is a beautiful mural.
Thank you. It's in the middle. I'm still working on it.
Oh, you
Oh, nice.
do you don't let any children help you, right?
No,
Okay.
they're not allowed in the library yet.
Oh, okay.
So we will. But I don't think acrylics is too difficult for kids, I think, to.
But you have let guided kids on art projects, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I love teaching art to kids. It's a blast.
No right or wrong.
Yes, that's it. The only rule is there are no rules.
It's a good rule to have.
Music to me ears.
Have you taught children art?
Oh, no, I have not. I just have a problem with rules so often because I don't know. I just do. Oh, my cousin Michael entered. Michael's here. I'm so glad. Can't see him, but a couple people I recognize have come. So nice to see them here, or to know they're here with us. This is just beautiful, this screen, Aaron.
Yeah.
Can you see me, Ann?
I can't see Jean, no.
Okay, well,
Or because I haven't,
hi, Anita.
I hear you, Jean. I don't see you the way it's set up somehow. I
know.
hear you. Nice.
Hi.
Brenner. Hi.
We have a shared screen right now.
Hi, Ellen.
Unfortunately, sometimes it's harder to see folks.
That's fine. No problem.
But before we start, we will stop the share. You'll be able to see everyone's faces. Right now, we're waiting as folks are able to join us, but we are so glad that you are here with us today. So welcome.
And now I can't see the clock. On share screen, I can't see the clock.
We're at 3:57 right now. So we are going to start at 4, but we'll probably give a couple minutes as people continue to join us. We want to make sure everyone is able to enjoy the poetry today.
So we'll give them 2 or 3 minutes after 4 and then we'll start.
Yes, that sounds perfect.
I'm trying to admit Marlene and I keep hitting admit.
Yeah, Marlene right now is trying to join. She's trying on 2 different devices, so she might be having some connectivity difficulties right now.
Aaron, do I have to press share screen? It's Jean.
I see you now, Jean.
You do?
Yeah.
Yes.
I see you too, Ann.
And
Hi, Jean.
I guess your day is made then.
Now I see you, Jean. I see you.
Okay, good. And I see you. I see Aaron. Well, it's happening.
Hi, Jean. This is Ellen. No picture.
Ellen.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi.
Hi, Ellen.
Hello, Ann.
Glad we're all here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Anne. Hello, both Anitas. And
Hi,
Jennifer.
Hi,
Oh,
Jennifer.
here. Oh, nice.
Anita McLaughlin, your hair is so fantastic.
Thank you.
I was admiring it on Thursday. I was like, ooh, she got her hair cut for the reading.
No, I didn't. It's just barely hanging on point. So
Really? I thought it was a new cloth.
Thanks, Jennifer. I feel better.
I agree
Thank you,
with
Anita.
Jennifer.
It's great.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Thank you. Your haircut is great.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you, Jacqueline.
I'm admitting people, Aaron.
Sounds good, Ann.
Okay. Because the participant screen is up in the middle of my screen for some reason. It's not always, but I don't mind it. It's not going to stay up, I don't think.
No, it shouldn't. And you can just click on participants at the bottom of your screen and it will go away.
I don't have any bottom when we're.
Maybe at the top.
Might be
Mine-
the top.
Yeah, mine is at the top.
It depends what device you're using. If you're using Apple, then it's sometimes at the top.
It's not anywhere because I'm screen sharing. I don't have it anywhere.
You'll see it
Oh,
once.
I do, you're right.
Oh, nice.
She's right again. Okay.
By the time the pandemic is over, we'll be experts.
Yes, that is true.
So if I click participants, it will go away?
Yes. And then if you click it again, it will pop back up again.
Okay.
Should we click on participants or no?
You can, you'll be able to see the list of folks who are with us today. So it's sometimes fun to click on participants and see who's there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I got it.
And then you can click it again if you want to close that out. Also, we have a chat. If you click on chat, right now it's disabled, but at the end of our time together today, we're going to open that up for any questions, anyone who would like to share a poem. We're going to have an open mic time. So using the chat feature is really helpful in that regard. And you just click on that chat button. And if you want to close that out, you just click on it again.
So it looks like in about 2 minutes, we're going to start, Aaron.
Yes, it's 4:01 right now. We're given another minute or two. We're gonna start in about a minute. We've got a number of folks who are still joining us, which is exciting. So we want to make sure we give them just a little bit of time to do that.
Hi, Lori Bear. I see you.
How are you seeing people?
Seeing friends, yeah.
So if you're only seeing yourself,
Yes.
and you hover your mouse over that, you'll see a couple little icons on the top of that box, the black box. You'll see a line, you'll see a grid, you'll see 2 lines, and that gives you different options of how you want to view people. And then you can always take your mouse and drag your screen and make it a little bit bigger.
Ah,
It's
now I
always
see.
a learning session with Aaron. I love that.
Yes, it is. I clicked on view on the
Yeah,
upper
you'll be,
right-hand corner, and I clicked on standard, the first one, and Anita and Dennis and people popped up.
perfect. So I'm going to stop the share right now. And hello, and you'll be able to see more people's faces right now, but you should see a view option on some part of your screen. Usually it's the top right, and you'll be able to switch between speaker view and gallery view. I'm going to spotlight our poets and Anne when they're talking, so you'll be able to see them a little bit better if you wish, but you can always go back to that view button and change it to gallery view if you want to see everybody else's faces as well. So I am going to spotlight Anne for everyone as we get started, but we're so glad that you are here with us today. Thank you for being here.
And thank you for being here, Aaron, so that we can all be here. And I'm going to introduce the poets right away. There are 2 Anitas, and I'm so thankful that we all have the opportunity to hear poets, whether it's this venue or any other venue, because I certainly need the comfort that poems offer, the inspiration they offer, and the other perspectives they offer. So thank you, both Anitas. And Anita Pouillet is she's going to be the first feature, and she's ready to start now. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Ann, and everybody. I want to thank Pastor Aaron and Ann for inviting me. It's a big honor to read at Poetry by the Sea, and of course, to read with the other Anita. So, as you know, poetry is a very revelatory art, and you learn a lot about the poet through their work. And I just start off by telling you that I am a bi-coastal person for about 20 years. I live in New York City, where I was born and raised, and worked for 35 years as an attorney, and then moved out here part-time when our two sons moved out here, and we have 5 grandchildren out here. So I bring to you poems from 2 cultures, and a life where I traded legal writing for poetry, and it was a good trade, trust me. So I thought about reading at the end of May, and what popped into my mind was that May was, of course, the Mother's Day celebration every year. And I remembered a poem I had written about, or inspired by Doris Lessing, the British Nobel Prize winning fiction writer, and who had a really miserable relationship with her mother, and wrote, so I wrote a poem called A Life Reimagined, and the epigram is, fiction makes a better job of the truth, Doris Lessing. Doris Lessing rewrote her mother, took a life lived and substituted a pen and ink mother, one she imagines she might have loved, one that might have loved her. The rest of us focus on conjugating verbs, the mothers we had, the mothers we should have had, the mothers we have been, the mothers we should have been, hoping that in some, the picture will not require a rewrite. Thank you. So now, of course, I have to read a poem about my mom, and I lucked out. I won the jackpot. A sweet, loving, unconditional loving woman who, well, here's a poem about her. She's long gone now. And this poem is called Her Recipe. Potato latkes are hand grated, then mixed with onion and a trace of knuckle blood. Drip ruby tears into batter, beat well. I learned this recipe from my mother, a Jew, an atheist, a pacifist, engaged in no other ritual or violent behavior, who preached no lessons biblical or otherwise, who viewed the art of cooking as she viewed child rearing, joyously random in method and result. I often think of her in that suburban kitchen with the orange banquette, flowered wallpaper, humming, grating potatoes. Long after I moved out, she changed the yellowed wallpaper twice until she found the consummate mesh of design and color. The first change was wrong, she explained, waving at bold new stripes, climbing helpless walls. Only now do I begin to understand her search for the perfect wallpaper in a house once filled with children, and trust my own children will accept far less than knuckle blood as a legacy, making allowances for me as I have for her. Okay, and since I'm an equal opportunity poet, I want to read one about my extraordinary dad. I want to back this up by telling you my dad was raised by an immigrant mother in what was Jewish Harlem, and his father had abandoned the family early on. So he kind of raised himself on the streets and became a attorney by going to law school at night, driving a cab. And he was a remarkable father. Not only that, but he had his 3 children, myself and my 2 brothers, join his law firm. So we had a sort of unusual thing going on in Brooklyn for many years, my 2 brothers and myself working with my dad. But this is a poem that dates back to, and my dad was a sort of a survivor of hard times. And so there were a couple of quirks about him. And this poem is called What I Knew. Strolling the Coney Island arcade on my 8th birthday, we placed a quarter in the palm of a fortune teller sporting a crystal ball. Her braceleted arms jangled as an arthritic ringed finger explored my father's smooth palm. You are a lawyer with 3 children, 2 sisters and a brother. Wrong, no brother, we shouted, laughed, and won a Cupid doll. Driving home, this is what he said. Oh my God, I had an older brother who died when I was very young. Guess we owe her a Cupid doll, he said as he continued fiddling with the car radio. This is what I said as I watched Coney Island flit by. You forgot you had a brother who died? All his life, my father refused to pay homage to grief, would not visit hospitals or attend funerals. And then this small dead brother chose my 8th birthday to rise like Lazarus from the rambling, gold-toothed mouth of a carnival soothsayer. Still, I knew he would never ask me to return that doll. And I loved him for that. So I thought from here, you now know about my mother and my father. And of course, I got lucky in the life partner department also, and married very young to someone who's still my life partner. And this is a poem I remembered from a while back that I write way too many love poems. There's no question about that. But they're all a bit odd, I think, because I bring to all of my poetry a background of different cultures and different kinds of writing. Advocacy writing, actually, was what I did when I worked. Okay, so this poem is called Shampoo. I am stuck in the shampoo aisle. The aisle is Olympic in size. I read the promises on the labels: oily hair, curly hair, dry hair, split ends, frizzy hair, all promising transformation, one into the other. Oh, how clearly I recall the girl who believed these labels, trusted them, allowed her frizzy mane to be offered up as a willing sacrifice. And then I met you. And somewhere along the way, I switched to shampoo that made no promises. Shampoo for normal, regular, whatever is on your head hair. Now, so many shampoos later, as I suds up, my hair curls in gratitude for whatever it was that you saw so many years ago when you decided to stay. So the most exciting, or one of the most exciting things that happened during quarantine was I had a full-length book come out called Toast, cover by my husband, Myron. All the covers of my books, and this is the 5th one, are by my husband. And so I thought I would read the cover poem. By the way, if anyone wants the book, it's on Amazon, and it's also Finishing Line Press. So this poem is called Toast. It's 3 a.m. On the way to the fridge, I noticed that our toaster has 3 settings: bagel, waffle, and poetry. It is dark and quiet here in our Upper West Side kitchen. Sirens that never stop are silent. Of the city's 8 million, I am the only one up. You continue to sleep as I grapple with the toaster poetry setting. When you finally wake, I hope you will help me turn on the poetry toaster, and together we will watch it work wonders. Then, in the dim light of the open fridge door, I see that the word is pastry. I lose my appetite. I return to bed, crawl in next to you, touch skin to skin, roll away, and toss myself to sleep. Thanks, guys. Okay, so in learning a little about the person who's writing these poems, I would say that you will learn a lot about me from this one, which my kids and grandkids and those who know me know already. And this poem is called Mea Culpa. And the epigraph is, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. Define catastrophizer. A solo traveler on an endless journey to the edge, wary of inner peace, of stoicism, an involuntary devotee of the uncentered, paying homage to rich, dark possibilities. One whose over-examined life is always a split second away from fabulous, freakish doom, desperately held at bay only by perceptual readiness. One who, sharing the vantage point of raptors, takes note of gullies and sheer rocky cliffs disguised as daily life, who smiles and nods at well-intentioned hecklers, advising, relax, live in the moment, while out of the corner of her eye keeps vigilant watch on the ravenous tiger circling everyone she has ever loved. Kind of sums me up. What can I say? It's an admission. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the pandemic, of course, we all have a million, those of us who write have a million pandemic poems. And this one kind of crosses the line between pandemic and love poem. And it's called Surfing the Storm. It is the connection that surprises. Nothing is random. Waves fold, communicate, swell, roll, dive, like star-crossed lovers racing towards wipeout. And so it is with us. Hair grays, bones creak, cells glom together. We are now the Olympians in this oceanic pandemic. Comfort me, my love. We can ride this wave, can't we? All right. So this is a poem that I decided to read because of all the horrible things going on that we have to take note of. We all know about January 6th and all the anger and frightening attack on our democracy, and all what's going on in Israel and Palestine, and the racist attacks on Asians. And it's all completely confusing. And this is a poem that sort of addresses that. It's called What I Do Not Know. This I know. There are no lone wolves. No one arrives full blown. No one wasn't suckled on breast or bottle, cradled, rocked to sleep, shit wiped from small behinds. I know that both the unloved and the loved worship the detestable with a ravenous hunger for a genetic anchor or a violent rejection of one, blinded by faith or long broken days surfing for internet salvation. I hear their stunned neighbors, but he seemed such a nice boy. She, such a friendly girl, helped me with my groceries. And so I know the disenfranchised are next to me on buses and subways, have bumped their carts into mine in the market where we wait in line for those things we both deem worth waiting for. But I wish I knew what those things were. That is what I do not know. So this is a poem next that was a finalist in the American Writers Review Contest about 2 weeks ago, where I was happy that Jean told us to enter poems because this one became a finalist. And I start this off by telling you it's with a tip of the hat to Rudyard Kipling, because we all know his If poem. And this is an If poem. It's called If Barbie Discovers That Ken is a Proud Boy. If you were nearsighted, I would buy you glasses to sit on your nose. If you were deaf, I would place small hearing aids deep inside your canals. We would dance together. You would allow me to see myself in your beautiful face. But it is not your eyes blinding you or your ears deafening the cacophony. It is your untouchable, unreachable mind. And I am unable to translate from the sidelines, drowning in love while watching you ride the swells of hate. Okay, we're getting down to the last couple of poems. This one is called A Walk in the Park. I just have to say that I just left New York. I'm back in LA, and the season in New York is absolutely New York's most beautiful, with the park is just in full bloom and just welcoming everyone out of their apartments for the first time in a year, and filled with people and flowers in bloom. And it inspired this poem, little one, called A Walk in the Park. Suddenly, the everyday is not. Warmth rushes the earth, sparking growth. Streams of light wild with promise splash sunbeams on tiny buds, tease wildlife out of dark places. And there we are, winter clothes like layers of our youth peeled away, arms entwined, balancing each other, strolling through the glorious greening, gasping at our luck. Thanks. Okay, last two poems. Hang on. We recently had to change our clocks, right? So it inspired this poem. And the poem is called How to Fall Back and Spring Forward. When the family clock chimes, do not hesitate. Move deliberately into or away from eerie morning light. There's no rush, an on-time arrival, now an anachronism. Raise your eyebrows. Watch as wisdom makes a red carpet entrance, grinning, posing for flashing cameras, arrogantly preaching the gospel of reckoning with body parts worn thin. Now swivel. Gingerly venture into memory's marshy muck. Get your bearings. Prepare for a surprising number of unscheduled stops. Out of the corner of your eye, note dear ones cheering. Wave to them. Shout, watch me navigate. Assume everyone you love hears you above the deafening tick-tock. And I guess I'm going to end with a poem that some of my friends here are going to recognize because I think I recently did it in our workshop, which is every poet's quest, and I think everyone's quest as you age and grow up. And it's finding your true self or finding your voice. And this poem is called Finding Voice. And the epigram is, what we have to give our children are values. You have to involve them at a very young age so they grow up knowing that they have power. And that's from Dolores Huerta, the activist. For one sweet day in the 5th grade, I was captain of the girls' softball team. The flu had swept the school and laid low the usual athletic stars. There I was, captain. The concrete playground and pink Spalding ball welcomed my debut. I stepped up, picked my team from the quiet, unathletic girls, smiling at the new experience of being first picked instead of last. Then I imitated the loud, bossy, confident captains I usually watched from the dormant outfield. We lost. I like to think that I wrapped my arms around my ragtag team and in a huddle explained that the game we just lost was about more than softball, so much more. But I doubt it, not yet. Years later, in a courtroom in Brooklyn, I sat at counsel table listening to my adversary scream, yell, and gesticulate. When the judge turned to me, I looked at my worried client, glanced at counsel sitting smugly across the aisle, and rose, addressing the court in a low, steady voice. I assume this court will consider our presentation on the facts, not on the dramatic distraction we have just witnessed. The judge smiled, leaned forward. Proceed, he said, nodding. I did. That's it, guys. Thanks. Really appreciate you all being here.
Thank you, Anita. I guess you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I like this one phrase I wrote down from one of your poems. So I want to remind everyone to pay homage to rich, dark possibilities. That's what we're going to do. Okay, our next poet, our next feature is another Anita McLaughlin. And here she is. And after that, we'll have our open mic. But here's Anita.
Hi, thank you everyone for being here. And thank you, Anne and Aaron and Tabitha for making this happen. The poems that I'm going to read are kind of a memoir, or they form a memoir, but it's not chronological and not all of it's true. So there you go. This one's called April Comes to the Valley. I see egrets fold and unfold, upriver and down, white flecks tossed against fresh green South Mountain. The last of winter makes a run to the top, drops a tight frost, but spring invites us to a baby egret kind of day. A truck tinkles happy poetry through tidy neighborhoods. Baby egrets ask for ice cream. Papa egret snacks on lizards snap from the garden walls. The mother flaps anxious, warns us of coyotes, bobcats, crows, mentions nothing about boys with smiles that slide to the back seat of their 57 Chevy. We know nothing about her, about spring in Montana, about a young girl, a handsome boy, until we find her poem, Blue Flowers After Rain. It's kind of about my mom. This one's called Foucault's Pendulum, and I'll just explain for people that may not know what that is. It's a way to prove that the Earth rotates. So it's a large pendulum that points directly to the center of the earth. And then the surface of the earth, actually all of the earth, turns under the pendulum. So the one in San Francisco, the one I remember as a child, had pegs, and the pendulum would knock over pegs every few seconds and that was one way you could tell the time that it took. So this is called Foucault's pendulum. I ride my bike to the corner store, buy bread for my mom, past the rough cottage where Jancy lives, a mystery overlaid with hubcaps. One peg down. You slide under the sheets, flip the blankets as if you own the morning sun. You hot chocolate smooth, I cream and marshmallow warm. The next peg down. I read Pride and Prejudice, handle the book until the paper oxidizes, burns a map of stars on my hands. Pegs fall. My clock chimes, rings for the previous hour or the next. Foucault's agreement with gravity, no longer a swing against arc. Pegs are falling. Wetlands burn, glaciers melt, polar bears starve. No one is left to reset the pegs. This is a poem called To My Little Sister. I just read it to her a half hour ago. To my little sister, do you remember toy boats Daddy helped us build from scrap lumber, empty spools? He sawed the wood, bow pointed, stern straight. We sanded until he said they were as perfect as new flannel pajamas. We pounded nails, made a bridge, a funnel, set a hook into the bow. You and I painted red, yellow, tied real sailors' knots in the tiny toe lines. We sailed through bathwater to Bangkok, Saigon, shipmates in our daddy's Navy. Mom said we were beautiful, cooked us salmon patties, prayed for a boy. And this is another family poem, and this is about the boy. Family. It was an argument about the Chevy radio knob. Who owned it, who stole it, and why? Who lied, who never lies? It came up because I mentioned it in the card I sent for his 68th birthday. He called me right away, said he never took it, trying to bamboozle his sister again after all these years. It's a sad story about a golden boy and a girl who drove a rusty 1964 Chevy Nova station wagon. It was about his shiny Corvair Monza with racing stripes and a missing radio knob. It was about the plundered station wagon and my brother, who convinced me I had never had all my knobs. Okay, this is, it's called A Marriage, but not the whole marriage. I'm just gonna read it. Two birds duke it out in the gutter. One chases the other. They battle into the avocado tree. The tree gathers itself to referee the match. Cell phones are silenced. Sides are taken. It comes down to this. She wants him to stop bossing her. He wants what he wants. Eventually, nothing is settled, but everyone knows where they stand. The onlookers take off in search of the next dust-up. Allison finds a better job. Henry learns to find his own socks. 3 months later, Henry dies. After 41 years together, Allison cannot sit in the chair where Henry read the daily racing form. She cannot get rid of his 1978 Toyota truck with the bad carburetor. This is called Absolutely Not. I'm not sure why it's called that, but anyway. I sit in my regular spot, Watch as he stows his bike, walks the entire length of the Metrolink car with the grace and power of Omar Sharif riding a camel across the wadi. I worry he might see I am nervous. I look down, want to touch his hand, kiss his mouth. Hello, he says, easy, confident, youngish, too young, probably a serial killer looking for his next elderly victim, I think. I'm afraid I might volunteer if I try to talk, so I don't. I step off the train at the Northridge station. Don't look back. Drive home as always to my dog and my mom. But I still can't stop imagining dark eyes, the sweet pirate curve of his smile. This is called This Morning. This morning I dream you, a sturdy mountain, all weight and breath. I hold time, oak bark tight, wait like a valley for the sun to touch every stone. You leave a quiet kiss. I count birds, fish, sing tea marichka. I taste every color, every shape, float in a pool of kites and wings, hear Mozart, a hint of Rhapsody in Blue, breathe ultramarine. This next one is called Red Boots. I shop in thrift stores, some of you may know. And about a month ago, I walk into the Goodwill, and on the shelf is a pair of Justin red boots, exactly my size. And they just glowed. They totally lit up the entire store. So this poem is about them and a few other things. Red boots. I love my new fat red boots. So juicy my mouth waters. Nothing else will do for a walk down the road, except you, barefoot, brown eyes gone shark-eyed black. I love you, hot, hang out the window bold, need what you do, how you do it, no questions, no answers, no apologies. I love your certainty, crave the long slope of your thigh, put my ear to your chest, hear the whirl of your nonsense, dark, relevant, sensual. I desire the taste of you, sharp as a tiny bite of tinfoil. I want the silky sound of my hand against your flank. Embrace the possibility I might catch sight of you shopping at Vaughn's. We waltz on the miniature balcony. Room only for 1 foot, excuse me. We waltz on the miniature balcony. Room only for 1 foot each. We lean, touch, share the red boots. Actually have worn the red boots. They fit perfectly. This is called A Short While Ago. A short while ago, I found a scrap of paper, vaguely familiar, but a mystery, like a song I could almost remember. What was the reason for the circle I had sketched in the center? A message of sun or moon, or of clouds before a storm? Or not a message at all, just paper and a scratch of pencil? Or was it a scrap I had torn from a journal, a note I tried to leave yesterday in a mailbox for a friend I can no longer find, but someone I remember from when she and I believed every line we drew was truth? Excuse me. This is called Afraid. Afraid to be forever hunkered down on the porch. Afraid I will never dig for shells at the beach, never fake bird talk to crows at the soccer field. Afraid there will be no more kisses at the park and ride. I am not frightened to lie on my back in the grass, alone with a short glass of ice and vodka, but a little worried to clean my house, shave my legs, never to see you again. I am not afraid, but cautious to walk across the yard, work to find my balance, feet flapping as if rolling logs on a turbulent river. I am afraid of what I heard from you yesterday, hours later than I had expected, your voice uneasy, thin, close to normal, but something equivocal slipped into the bad connection. Something like a tool chest rattled in the back of your truck, your keys bunched in your pocket, a certain rhythm, that of a public service announcement, impersonal, thoughtful, 5 seconds from cut. This is my last poem. It's about the women. We went to art school together, and we went to the Getty together. It's called Missing Manet. It is a perfect Manet girl in the garden kind of day. We take a chance, speed toward the Getty on the last day of the Manet and Modern Beauty show. We laugh, talk, art school, weddings, babies. You talk about Mom and Lee. Where are they, you ask? My mom is gone. Lee is gone, I say. Your brown eyes, once as sparkling as the girls in Manet's paintings, have gone cloudy, uncertain. I remember you tearing through Bunker Hill, Bronson Canyon in your orange Porsche. How is your mom, you ask, and Lee? Mama's gone, I say, and Lee. We wait in line for Manet, talk about your grandmother's cookies, how she kneaded them until the dough was as soft as the fleshy part of her arm. How is your mom, you ask, and Lee? The Getty closes before we can get close to Manet. My mom is gone, I say, and Lee. That's the last one.
Well, thank you, Anita. That was certainly a voyage. I wanted to ask you, it sounds as if your red boots have no apologies. I went to see them. Where are they?
Oh, I didn't think anyone would see them today, so I don't have them on. I can go get them though.
Well, next time you better have them on, Anita.
Okay.
And I love this line that you said in your poem, every line we drew was true. I love that feeling that it arouses in me when you know that that's happening. It's just, thank you so much. And I guess we're going to head into an open mic and get to hear from all of you, and our host, Erin, who handles all this tech with Tabitha. They both handle this tech so beautifully. She's going to lead us in the open mic. There you go, Erin.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Anita. We are so grateful for your gifts and your time of sharing your poetry with us. It's always a gift for us, so thank you both. So I have just enabled the chat feature. If you click on the little button chat, you'll be able to ask any questions or let me know if you would like to read one of your poems. We just ask that it might not be an epic poem for our time together today. But we do want to open this up. You can also unmute and get my attention that way, but we want to create a little bit of time for any comments or questions that you have for our poets, and then for sharing your own poetry. So feel free to unmute and let me know or put in chat. All right, perfect. There's a lot of thanks going on in the chat feature to both Anitas for sharing with us today. And I'm going to call on Jean first to share one of her poems. And you can continue to put questions if you have any questions for our poets in the chat as well, or any comments you'd like to put. And I'll just go in order in terms of inviting people to the mic. So Jean?
Thank you. I think.
Yes.
And thank you, Dominique and Tabitha, for making this possible, and Anne. And thank you, Anita P. and Anita M. for enriching this day so completely with your poetry. Thank you. The poem I'm going to read is about my history as a dancer first. That's how my career started in the arts. I ended it as a member of the Martha Graham Dance Company, and I am from New York City originally. And so I share that with Anita. And so this, I don't like to do this, but this poem needs to be placed historically because it takes place in 1953. And it's for Sir Frederick Ashton, who was knighted in 1962. But in 1953, when this poem takes place, when the Sadler's Wells Ballet Company came to the old Metropolitan Opera House, 4 hopeful ballerinas, including me, were extras in 3 ballets the Wells brought for their American tour. Choreographer Frederick Ashton was also a dancer at the time, and he was not knighted until 1962. And I will mention Margot Fontaine. She was one of the prima ballerinas at that time. 4 of us were fortunate to be on stage with her, but she was not a megastar. The dance world knew about her and worshiped her, and kind of a New York elite who went to the old Met all the time. But her partner at that time was Michael Soames. She did not become the megastar until 1963, when she started dancing, partnering with Rudolf Nureyev when he defected in 1962, but they didn't dance till 1963. So after all that, for Sir Frederick Ashton, in stillness, I relive your kindness. In stillness, 4 14-year-olds rehearsed the first time with Britain's world-famous Sadler's Wells Ballet Company. Prima ballerina Margot Fontaine will perform as Princess Aurora in Sleeping Beauty. Margot Fontaine being on stage with this untouchable goddess, ballet's holiest of holies. In stillness, Allison, Marcia, Wendy, and I tremble, wait for the cue. We are masked mice who wheel in a creaky wood carriage carrying Mr. Ashton as Carabosse, the wicked fairy godmother.
Not sure what this is for.
We lower the cart, scurry to one of the carriage's 4 wheels, hop. Scurry to the next, hop. Repeat twice more as our hands at our mouths twiddle like whiskers. In stillness of visitation, a hawk-like beaked nose, her shiny black dress with the wingspan perched to attack us, greasy black feathers, her body crawling with insects and foot-long gold claws, dooming the court and the princess to 100 years of death, I mean sleep. In stillness, your lilting British accent saves me like a tender love song. Girls, if my costume scares you, remember, underneath, it's just me in rehearsal clothes.
Thank you so much, Jean. Thank you. All right, I'd like to invite Dennis to share with us.
This is a poem written by Lloyd M. Gerber when he was a rancher, and he wrote cowboy poetry. And this poem's about what a rancher, one of the jobs that a rancher does to maintain his livestock. Some people say castrating calves is a matter of taste. Some do it slowly and others in haste. Some gently saw when others pull while making a steer out of a bull. Now, some use hard rubber bands. They don't want to get blood on their hands. Some use heavy tools that crush. Some cut them off straight. They're in such a rush. Now, lambs are another matter, you know. Those little round things so slick they slip and slide in the wool of the sheep. So you finally give up and use your teeth. That's not the easiest thing to do. So you got to remember not to chew. And if your teeth aren't
I'm so sorry, Dennis. You got muted for a second there. Our apologies. If you can click on unmute. There you go. You're good to go.
say something wrong.
It wasn't you, not at all.
Because I was worried.
If your teeth are sharp.
That's not the easiest thing to do. So you got to remember not to chew. And if your teeth aren't all in place, they'll slip and slide right through the space. You got your nose down in the wool. You want to gag because your mouth is full. You run through the ticks and the dusty wallow. You hold your breath because you dare not swallow. When you finally do come up for air, and you only got one instead of a pair, so back you go to grope for the other one. And when you got two, you're finally done. Now it's true, calves shouldn't be done in haste. It's just when you do lambs, because it's a matter of taste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you, thank you. All right, Charlotte, we'd like to invite you to share with us. Let's see. Charlotte, are you there? Charlotte Ward. So I'm going to ask you to unmute. We don't see your video right now, so we're not, let's see. Okay, we're going to pause for just, oh, there we go. Charlotte, you got it. Are you there?
Sorry, I had to leave for a moment, but I'm
No worries.
back.
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful.
Let me get to my screen here. This is called Preference. I am plaiting self-reliance into one long braid. First shampoo with lavender, rinse in warm water, comb curls into compliance, and separate glory into possibilities, a few strands at a time, interlacing ribbons as I go, the whole happy lot heady with capabilities and want of style. Sing San, an ancient reference. If you wish to see the truth, hold no opinion for or against. The great way is simple for those who have no preference. Secured by a silk barrette, the color of nephrite jade. But the next implies choice. Blessed are the peacemakers. Like a childhood ringlet, I tether the beatitude by a snippet of aquamarine blue, savoring a friend's response when people seek advice. What in me makes you think that I know what you should do? I brush aside a gray wisp and tuck a peach grosgrain into place. But longing still stirs me to realize a Xanadu where learning, nature, and ethics ebb and flow with grace. Finally, I wonder, is this mine? Does it belong to a dreamer? So little does. Released, I swirl the length into a wily love knot and clasp a satin streamer at the crown. The white lightness of feathery clouds and down.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Thank you. All right, I would like to invite Ruby to share with us. So I'm going to invite you, if you can unmute.
Okay. Am I unmuted?
You are good to go.
Thank you. I found this poem this morning, actually. It was written by Daniel Beatty, who's a poet. He's also an actor. And I thought I'd share it with you. It's called Knock Knock. As a boy, I shared a game with my father. Played it every morning till I was 3. He would knock, knock on my door, and I'd pretend to be asleep till he got right next to the bed, and then I would jump up and get into his arms. Good morning, Papa. And my papa, he would tell me that he loved me too. We shared a game, knock, knock, until that day when the knock never came. And my mama takes me on a ride past cornfields on this never-ending highway till we reach a place of high, rusty gates. A confused little boy, I entered the building carried in my mama's arms. Knock, knock. We reach a room of windows and brown faces. Behind one of the windows sits my father. I jump out of my mama's arms and run joyously towards my papa, only to be confronted by this window. I knock, knock, trying to break through the glass, trying to get to my father. I knock, knock as my mama pulls me away before my father even says a word. And for years, he never said a word. And so 25 years later, I write these words for the little boy in me who still awaits his papa's knock. Papa, come home because I miss you. I miss you waking me up in the morning and telling me you love me. Papa, come home because there's things I don't know. And I thought maybe you could teach me. Teach me how to shave, how to dribble a ball, how to talk to a lady, how to walk like a man. Papa, come home because I decided a while back I wanted to be just like you. But I'm forgetting who you are. And 25 years later, a little boy cries, and so I write these words and try to heal and try to father myself as I dream up a father who says the words my father did not. Dear son, I'm sorry I never came home. For every lesson I failed to teach, hear these words. Shave in one direction in strong, deliberate strokes to avoid irritation. Dribble the page with the brilliance of your ballpoint pen. Walk like a god and your goddess will come to you. No longer will I be there to knock on your door, so you must learn to knock for yourself. Knock, knock down doors of racism and poverty that I could not. Knock, knock down doors of opportunity for the lost brilliance of the Black man who crowd these cells. Knock, knock with diligence for the sake of your children. Knock, knock for me, for as long as you are free. These prison gates cannot contain my spirit. The best of me still lives in you. Knock, knock with the knowledge that you are my son, but you are not my choices. Yes, We are our Father's sons and daughters, but we are not their choices. For despite their absences, we are still here, still alive, still breathing, with the power to change the world, one little boy and girl at a time. Knock, knock, who's there? We are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Thank you very much. All right, Lisbeth, I'd like to invite you to unmute and to share.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I'm Lisbeth Koyman. I'm going to read two short poems. Why the Nightingale Sings. This poem was written exactly on September 18th, 2020, one day after the nurse Dawn Wooten blew the whistle on the hysterectomies performed on Latino women in the ICE concentration camps in Georgia. And the news was completely overlooked by the media because of the death of the Supreme Court Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Why the Nightingale Sings. At the top of an ebony tree, in the forest of our shared pains, a nightingale sings a lament for our brown selves thrown against each other in the novel virus spreading vortex of dark cages. Lament for our uteri bleeding after rape, after the agony of having children taken away. Dysmenorrhea, the red agony of exhausted ovaries, swallowing daily cocktails of misogyny and xenophobia inside an ICE concentration camp. On surgical tables, healthy ovaries mistaken for cystic ones, then both removed from semi-authorized female brown women. Brown women, unable to refuse treatment, unable to understand their fruitless future of muted mamas and abuelas. Brown women, unable to stand up for their own humanity. Brown children taken with the precision of a scalpel, forever unconceivable here or there, even when sent back to where they came from. On top of an ebony tree, in the forest of our shared pains, the nightingale sings in the dawn of our uprisings. And if I have time, can I read a second one, shorter?
Yes, please, go right ahead.
Thank you. This poem is inspired by the banyan grove, a Moreton Bay fig tree grove in the South Coast Botanic Garden in the peninsula, in the Palos Verdes Peninsula. The massive Moreton Bay fig tree stands at the center of this man-made system of superficial roots, growing fast, robust, displaced in a foreign land. Each tree holds its place, contained within the boundaries of the roads around them, like us, so far away from the shade of the forest, always uncomfortable, marked streets limiting our expansion, yet we hold each other, thrive. This last poem is included in my forthcoming collection, Uprising Alzamiento, which will be released on June 11th by Finishing Line Press. It is my first poetry collection, and it is a completely bilingual work. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is really exciting and wonderful news. Well, friends, that I hope I I did not miss anyone who wished to share, but thank you all for sharing so much and for spending this time together this afternoon. I'll turn it over to Anne for any closing thoughts and to close us out for the afternoon.
Oh, I'm so thankful that we had the open mic that we had on top of the wonderful features. And I'm glad that we are addressing these times that we're in because they need addressing. They need addressing. So we'll look forward to our next Poetry by the Sea. Well, our next Tales by the Sea is coming up. That's the storytelling is coming up. When? July. It's coming up July 11th. And the next Poetry by the Sea is August 15th. And yeah, I'd love you to stay on to get on the mailing list so that you can be contacted, because some of you might like to feature at some point. So at any rate, that's it. To get on the mailing list, just have to email the church or me or whatever. And please do that. And thank you for listening. And does anyone have any closing remarks they want to say to the features or any of the poets that have read? You're welcome to. Otherwise, we'll be closing for now. Okay. Oh, Lisbeth, yes. Unmute, Lisbeth.
No, I think that was a goodbye wave.
That was goodbye. Okay. All right.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you to Anne for organizing Poetry and Tales. We're so grateful. And for our poets who joined us today for the Anitas, we are grateful for you both. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.